I just finished renovating this room. I have a library, a desk, a bed, a comfortable reading nook, and this is the perfect spot to enjoy a coffee. I think I need a coffee table. Let's see if I have any leftovers. These are the nice bits of thick wood that I have left over from all of the counters. And I think they would be quite nice to use for this build. What I always really wanted was a very chunky little side table. I am pretty sure some of you are thinking, hey, you have that downed birch tree chopped up in the back of your garden. You could carve that chunky little table you've been dreaming of out of that. Well, I did consider it, but I feel like my tree to furniture days are a little bit further in the future, so for now I will start with timber from the shop to furniture. And I don't really have one piece which is the right size for the tabletop. So I'm thinking I'm going to take these two pieces and glue them together. I see people in videos do this all the time, but I've never done anything like that myself, so I'm going to try it now. Let's put this tabletop together before I continue with the design. I'm going to use glue and dowels. I have this set that comes with dowels, drill bits and center points, which you use to make sure the holes are in the same spot on both sides. So first I make all the holes in both pieces, add the dowels and lots of glue, and finally I decided to clamp the pieces to the table because I actually don't have clamps big enough to fit around the wood. I'm really hoping I don't end up gluing this to the table. This is going to be my very first piece of furniture. Starting the process of designing it actually turned out to be a little bit more confusing than I thought, despite a little table being quite simple. So I tried to stay practical. The idea is to create something that fits the minimalist joinery that's already in the space. I want the surface to be big enough to take my laptop so I could work at it because, you know, why use this amazing giant desk that I built when I could just sit in a big white chair and have a mini table. I spent a couple of evenings sketching, so I've had to play around with designing something that I can build with my tools and materials. So I went online and saved a couple of pieces of furniture that I decided to take some elements from just to make this first piece a little bit easier to digest. I was looking at little leg details like this and some shapes that are a little bit more organic to offset all of the very square shapes. I've ended up with a potentially convoluted design, which is what I tend to do. But in essence, the design is very simple. Different pieces of wood sort of slotting into each other. Ready to go again. There's still some ice on the road. Let's walk a bit. I was going to go to the supermarket yesterday, but it was raining quite a bit, so I ended up pushing it forward. I was planning on just putting on my rain gear and just going for it, but I'm happy I'm going today because it's sunny. I need to do a few other things as well, so I need to go to a couple of other shops. I think the road's clearing up again. Here we go again. Oh. Okay. I have so much recycling. See? This is so much nicer than rain. One of the shops I went to was a hardware store, and for the first time I got some nice planed timber for indoors. It's much pricier than the construction timber, but I thought it would be a nice luxury for a small furniture project. I cut it into small pieces and strapped them to my trailer. I also managed to do all my food shopping, and after a couple of hours jumped back on my bike again. Back on my bike! I got a crazy amount of food. I literally spent 2,300 Swedish crowns on food, which is so much. But at least now I've got food for multiple weeks because it might start snowing again. I have no idea how much, so it might be fine, but also it's really nice to be on my bike again and just to be cycling around. Yeah. I picked up some nice pieces of timber. I even got a stain as well, so that should be interesting. It's a very different stain from what I've used so far. Some of this is actually for another project in this room. But this wood is what I'm going to use for this piece of furniture. Mainly I have a few other bits which I have leftovers for. It is 21 by 69 pine. Now I just need to cut everything to size, and I did a drawing for this, which is very useful. A little front elevation here, all the different pieces drawn out, and the different plan sections. So I'm going to take this and start cutting away. I think I might have just enough wood. I'm running a little bit low. Let's just hope what I design on paper actually looks good in 3D. This glued together tabletop looks good as well, but you can see a slight gap in between the two pieces of wood, so I think I'm going to take some sawdust and glue and fill up the crack. Now I've cut all the legs to size, but I still have to cut the supports underneath the tabletop. I have a little curve detail, so I'm drawing it out and cutting it with my jigsaw. When the supports are done, it's time for the table base. I'm using a leftover 45 by 60 piece to create 3 smaller parts, and I'll be notching out a few sections, so in the end it will slot together nicely. I have all of my different pieces and it's time to sand again. Look at these little legs. Like that. Sneak preview. So while I've been working on this little side table, I've actually been doing a few other things as well. I've been trying to create more storage so I can move things in the living room into other places and I can start working on that room. But I decided to add that to the next video. But one of the things that I did is add my ladder shelf to the kitchen. I just really don't know if I like it. I thought it was a great idea, and I might be changing my mind. I am still figuring out what I want to do with the shelf, but for now I think it's a great way to display all of my Jackery power stations. Which is perfect because Jackery is sponsoring this video. I've been using Jackery power stations for a few years now and they are amazing at providing power when you're off-grid, camping, living in a van or need a backup system at home. Now Jackery has a new power station. You may remember me calling this one the bunny rabbit of power stations. Well, if this is the bunny rabbit, then this is the mini lob. This is the Jackery Explorer 100 Plus and it's cute. It has two USB-C connections and one regular USB. I can use it to charge my phone and camera batteries when I'm on a trip. It has an LCD display that tells you the in and output power and the remaining charge and discharge time. You can charge it with solar panels, but you can also use a regular wall outlet or the charger in your car. Currently, Jackery is offering discounts on selected power stations and solar panels of up to 43% on their official website until the 18th of January. And after that, the sales continue on the official Jackery Amazon shop. So if you like cute things, could use some green power, I'll leave the links in the description box. And thank you to Jackery for a cute power station and sponsoring this video. Okay. Got my chair in here, I've got the fire going. I'm going to start putting these pieces together and it's a little bit tricky because say these are the legs. I need to put these together, so I'm going to put in little dowels. I made a little diagram with everything that I need to do that I can think of and in which order. Let's start by putting these together. Step 1. Putting in dowels like this would be way too tricky because it would be too easy to get it wrong. So I actually decided to do it differently. I'm going to glue this together and then screw in from the top. Unfortunately, I'm also lacking things like 90-degree clamps, so I can't really clamp anything together very well. So I just have to hope that my gluing is going to be strong enough for this little side table to not collapse ultimately. So I think this is not the best idea. I don't know if I should do 2 screws so the chances of it being skewed are lower. Something kind of happened yesterday. It's a little bit crazy. Everything is covered in white and it looks amazing. Almost all of the snow had gone. Last night it started snowing again and it's just the fluffiest snow ever. There is a huge pack. It looks amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. I wasn't quite sure how to screw the three parts that make up the table base together, so I'm making a plate for the underside. It will be recessed into the bottom and screwed into each of the three parts. Last night I did one little thing. I put this triangular piece of wood and glued it in between these two legs, but I actually didn't properly clamp it at the start because it just started moving around, but it doesn't really matter because it's just here as a spacer mostly. I think the next step would be to cut a tabletop. I might do something a little bit organic. Cool. That looks so funny. Okay, let's have a look at the tabletop. This is the piece that I have. It's pretty big. Okay, I have drawn more of an organic shape as opposed to just a circle. I don't know whether it's going to be a mistake. It just feels as though if I just do a round tabletop, it just seems really boring. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so then I'll have a second layer, but other than figuring out the tabletop, I do think it is looking pretty cute. Okay, so I'm just sitting here and I'm sort of Legoing this together and I'm thinking, it's kind of looking cute. It's cute. And I took a picture of it and then I realised it looks like one of those cat climbing things. And now I can't unsee that. Anyways, I'm waiting for the snow to stop so I can start sanding outside. This table is completely dry. I'm putting this table together starting at the top and then working my way down. just upside down. It's time to make things happen and find out if this table is any good. I have all the separate pieces and I'm going to put this little table together now. I copied the exact positions of the supports and drew them onto the underside of the tabletop so I can be sure I fix them in the right place. Initially, I was going to put the whole thing together with just dowel joints and glue, but because of some of the angles and my lack of clamps, it actually turned out to be easier to drill a hole halfway through, add glue, screw the pieces together, and then cap the holes off with a dowel. The bottom plate is going to keep the base together, but before I finish attaching these last pieces, I need to wait for the glue to dry and start staining. I'm just getting rid of all the dust. Before I put this whole thing together, this one leg is missing. I realise it's going to be a bit tricky to stain in between these tight spots here, so I'm going to start staining before I put the last bits together and then stain all of it. I did realise I made a mistake though. I used wood glue and sawdust mixed together to fill in all of these little cracks in between, you know, the pieces of wood. But then realised that wood glue doesn't really take stain very well. Luckily, I do have a marker in the same colour as the stain. This stain is like an ink black and it is so cool. Wow. I chose an ink black stain for a contrast in the room. Everything is a natural light wood stain or white, and my banquette seating is green, and I just have a few black details like the wall lights, so hopefully the black, more angular side table will be an interesting contrast next to the big white fluffy chair. I feel strangely nervous, but I guess it's time. Let's make a coffee. Okay, I didn't make a coffee, I made a tea. I've been trying to think of what I want to say, but I have no idea what I want to say about this table. I think I'm pleasantly surprised. If I were to walk into a shop and see it, I might think it's cute. I think I could have made it just a tad less high. I thought this would be the perfect height for working at it. But now that I made it, it could have been just a little bit shorter. The stain looks really good. I love how it's black, but you can still see the grain through it. The tabletop has this cool organic shape, which I think works, and then the second layer is also a little bit more organic. I did make this so that I could put my laptop on it, and because of the slightly organic, almost bean shape, it actually works quite well, I think, with a laptop, a mouse, and then I could put my tea or my coffee on the bottom shelf. And the legs look really good. The glue actually turned out to not be that much of an issue. You can see where the glue's been, but it doesn't bother me too much. And it's also a table that I can use at my banquette seat, which is really cool. I can actually have like a little dining table. Well, a very small dining table. It's almost like a real artsy cafe right now. Almost. One thing I still need to do is put a protective coat on top. I don't have any at home right now, so I need to get some of that. But I think it looks cute, and I think the legs are really cute. Working with the nicer timber was definitely a difference. It's definitely less soft than working with all the other timbers that I usually buy, the cheaper construction ones. It's really difficult to talk about your own creations and to know whether or not you like them. But yeah, it's cute. It's cute. I like it. I like it. I like it. I think I like it.